So another story we're following this morning, former lobbyist and Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort is giving his first in-depth interview since serving time in prison. Manafort was convicted in 2018 on bank fraud and tax charges and sentenced to more than 7 years behind bars. He was eventually pardoned by then-President Trump in December of 2020, more than 7 months after he was released from prison and put on home confinement due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, this morning, there are several bombshell revelations from Manafort's new interview with Insider. Namely, Manafort admitted for the first time that he's the one who funneled Trump campaign data to Russian oligarchs, not to swing the election to Trump, but to make money for himself. Joining us now is the journalist who conducted this exclusive interview with Paul Manafort, senior correspondent for Insider, Matthias Schwartz. And Matthias, it's good to have you on the show this morning. What else did you find out from Paul Manafort? And does he seem at all regretful about what he did?
He did not express any specific regrets. It is very interesting that he has now admitted that he gave Kilimnik some polling data. He also implied that not all of that polling data was public polling data, as he said in the past. So this story about exactly what this relationship with Kilimnik was continues to change 6 years on. He also talked about his relationship with the CIA. He claimed that in the 1980s, he worked closely with the CIA and the White House in some lobbying, for example, in the Philippines and in Angola. He's very adamant that he tried to move Yanukovych towards the West. That was the one. Yanukovych was the president of Ukraine that Manafort was working for, and that's the one point, or one of the few points where there was actually other people were telling me that too, including some former U.S. ambassadors to Ukraine.
So, Mr. Schwartz, why did he decide to come clean with you now?
I'm not sure. I don't know. He does have a memoir coming out. He may have thought about our interaction as part of getting the word out about his book. At the same time, I think he does care what people outside of Trump world think about him. He has been a part of the Washington establishment for decades. A lot of the crimes that he was convicted of, he was working closely with, for example, Gregory Craig, the former House counsel, on his Ukraine project. So a lot of the things he was doing for Yanukovych in Ukraine, there were dozens and dozens of people in Washington who were eager to take that same pool of money. Now, the Kilimnik interaction is a little bit different. It's extremely unusual and extremely concerning from a counterintelligence perspective to have a senior member of a presidential campaign, turning over internal data and regularly meeting with someone who, by all accounts, has ties to a Russian intelligence or is, in fact, a Russian spy. Manafort, some say, he didn't say this, even would joke that Kilimnik was maybe a Russian spy when the two were working together in Ukraine. So why meet with him? Why give him this stuff? The answer, at least that's what Manafort says. He says he was trying to build up his own reputation with Russia-leaning oligarchs like Oleg Deripaska, who we've done a lot of work for in the past. So while he was working for Trump, he was trying to set up his next gig and to figure out how he might cash in later. And this is his version of events. This is him trying to put a better. He says, in politics, everyone is thinking about what winning means, and I was trying to build up my reputation with these people. I think that's a little bit cynical, and I don't think that's true. But by his own account, he was looking to get paid here. And by the U.S. government's account, that involved turning over internal campaign data to a Russian spy and also entertaining a quote-unquote peace plan, or at least discussing it, that would have been a huge giveaway to Putin in Ukraine, that would have given Putin control effectively of chunks of eastern Ukraine as well as Crimea. Manafort's longtime client in power.
So an open secret back in 2016 that Paul Manafort was not particularly optimistic about Donald Trump's chances of winning. Of course, he then didn't flip on his former boss, was convicted, later pardoned. So in the light of this information, what is Paul Manafort's level of contact with Donald Trump and Donald Trump's world now, as the former president appears to be gearing up for another White House run? Does Manafort hope to play some sort of role, and what questions does this raise?
I'm speculating here. I'm reading the tea leaves a little bit. I think that his contact with the Trump campaign is probably not insubstantial. He does really tout Trump's chances in his book. There's a lot in the book that seems like it's designed for an audience of one for Donald Trump. So, he was not explicit about this with me, but my sense is that he is trying to get back in.
All right, insiders. Matt Schwartz, thank you very much. It's really hard on Zoom sometimes. It sounds a little bit hollow, and there's a little bit of a delay. But we appreciate your reporting and bringing it to us this morning. Joe, put this day in